Hey babies, welcome back to another Affinity video. This is right after the Yorion ban, and it's my first league in Modern afterwards, so I'm super excited to try it out. Also, thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. You have no idea how much it means to me. It's very flattering. And let's get into the games. Alright, round one, and we won the die roll. Let's see what we got. 2 treasure vaults, so no blue mana, two blue spells. Probably gonna mulligan. If one of these was a Mistvault Bridge, I'd be really happy, but yeah, let's get rid of this. Okay, so Mistvault Bridge, Mistvault Bridge. Double tap land isn't great, but I guess we're keeping it. Ornithopter, Ornithopter, Thoughtcast, Cranial Plating. I think I keep both the Ornithopters and get rid of the Ether Spell Bomb. So let's keep Ditch you. Play Bridge Go. I'm really curious to see how the format shakes out with Yorion being gone. From what I've seen, a lot of people are trying different variants of 60 card 4-color midrange, but there isn't an agreed upon version of it yet. So we're definitely in an interesting spot. Opponent got a mountain, bolts the Thopter, that's fine. We'll play Shadow Spear. We don't get to play Thoughtcast, but our opponent using a Lightning Bolt on an Ornithopter is really good tempo for us. And it looks like they're playing Burn, so it also gives us a bit of life, and that's nice. We drew Frogmite. Let's lead on Frogmite since it's free. Play Thoughtcast, hopefully get an untapped land so we can play Cranial Plating 2. Let's see. Opponent helixes the Frogmite, that's fine. We draw double Thoughtcast, okay. And we didn't draw another land, but we drew another Thought Monitor and a Relic, which is a cantrip but doesn't do anything else in this matchup. Our opponent's spending a lot of time just killing our creatures, which definitely is not the right thing to do if you're playing Burn here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's lead on Thoughtcast. Drew Darksteel Citadel. Okay. We have drawn so many cantrips. Oh my god. We're getting through our deck so quickly this game. Boros charms us. Okay, we're at 16. We drew 2 more blue spells. Oh my god. And we drew another one. We've drawn all of our blue spells. No free 4/4s yet, but wow. That's some crazy RNG right there. All 4 Thought Monitors and all 4 Thoughtcasts. Okay. We're at 13. Our opponent has 3 cards in hand. They draw a card with Sunbaked Canyon. They play Swift Spear. Okay. Let's block with Thought Monitor, make them use a burn spell now if they want to save it. They don't. Fantastic. Play Thought Monitor. Okay, opponent concedes. Sweet. Let's bring in some Rebukes. Cut. Nettle Cyst. Relic. Relic. Bring in another Rebuke. That's all I generally do against Burn. The reason I take out Nettle Cyst, on top of it being a little bit slow, because Nettle Cyst is better in grindier games, their main powerful sideboard card that they bring in against us that can really blow us out is Deflecting Palm. And Nettle Cyst can just let us die to that really easily. This hand's pretty good, let's keep it. Where Cranial Plating we can at least re-equip, and Constructs we can sort of play around with, like, with Ether Spellbomb, but we don't want to have to do that all the time. So if you're playing against Burn with Affinity, be very aware of when your opponent has that up. Alright, so we have a couple options here. They play Land Go. I could go Mistvault Bridge Go. I think they might have an Eidolon next turn, though, since they didn't play a creature on turn 1. So let's go Darksteel Citadel, Springleaf Drum. And then all of our other stuff doesn't ping us with Eidolon in our hand, since we have a bunch of high casting cost stuff. Roiling Vortex, okay. Mimknight, oh, that's sad. Let's see. I can go Mistvault Bridge, Frogmite, Thoughtcast. I'm probably just never casting this Memnite. Yeah, I'm going to put Memnite in the shame bin over here. With all the stuff that I don't want to cast immediately. Metallic Rebuke is kind of nice. We need to try to sequence things to where Roiling Vortex doesn't deal us a ton of damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7. Alternatively, I could go Thought Monitor first and see what I get off the top. How do I do it to where I can keep up Metallic Rebuke, possibly? I don't think I can. And also cast a bunch of blue stuff this turn. Yeah, I'm just going to go Mirror Enforcer here into Thoughtcast. Welding Jar that we're never going to cast, along with the Ornithopter and Memnite. Go to combat. As much as it would speed us up to just run out these 0-drops now, I don't want to take the 5s to Roiling Vortex since our opponent can change our life total so quickly. Opponent goes down to 15. They Boros Charmed us down to 14, but they didn't have a Bolt on us that turn. Opponent plays another land. They're flooding out pretty bad. They did that last game too. Maybe they should have mulliganed. They have 3 cards in hand. Roiling Vortex pings us down to 13. Saga ticks up. We draw Ether Spellbomb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's play the other Saga. Let's play Aether Spellbomb, or Ether Spellbomb, or whatever. Now we can hold up Metallic Rebuke and also make a construct. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could play Thought Monitor for 1, but I don't think it's worth it compared to just making construct and getting in. And I need to hold back Frogmite to be able to make a construct and also cast Metallic Rebuke here. So let's get in with Mirror Enforcer, since that should put our opponent dead to construct beats next turn, hopefully. Path to Exile. Alright. We'll get an island. That's fine. Don't really care about path. Our opponent has 2 cards in hand, 3 once they draw for turn. They should not be able to have a chain of draws that kills us here. They play a land. Are they going to draw a card now? Hopefully they draw a card now, because that means if they have Deflecting Palm, we can Metallic Rebuke it. They do draw their card. 3 cards and 3 mana. I don't think there's a way that Burn can kill us with that. Let's make a big boy. The biggest of boys. Okay. We get pinged down to 12. We draw Frogmite. Let's put our stuff on the stack. Tap for mana. Get Shadow Spear. Okay. Play Thought Monitor. See what we get. Play Silver Bluff Bridge. I'm gonna equip... Yeah, might as well just put it on the construct, I guess. I was thinking about putting it on Frogmite, so if they had another path, I could get rid of it there. But this way, we can counter this Smash to Smithereens. Tap, tap, tap. And we can just bounce Ether Spellbomb. If they had removed this with a path, we could have countered it and then bounced the construct if they had a Deflecting Palm. and then they still don't have enough cards in hand to kill us. But now they don't have enough mana for Deflecting Palm anyway, and we're about to gain 10. Our opponent's going to have to pay 1, that's fine. But then our opponent has 3 cards in hand, and we're at 12. And we're just kind of Gucci. Or effectively we'll be at 11, but we still should not have a way to die from here. Hooray! All these useless cards in our hand. I'll reveal those, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright, round 2, we won the die roll again. This is really land heavy. We do have Thoughtcast and Cranial Plating though, which is kind of nice. Having Thoughtcast and Cranial Plating kind of makes me think I want to keep this, despite the fact that we have a couple cards that we're not going to use. Or at least most likely because we have a couple extra lands. Let's keep it. This hand goes turn 1 Silver Bluff Bridge, and then either turn 2 Cranial Plating or turn 2 Ornithopter Thoughtcast. Seems pretty good. We have a way to start up a decent clock on our opponent, and we also have a way to start digging into our deck. Our opponent's only getting down to 5. I wonder if they're a deck that means to do that, or if they're having bad luck now. We will see, I guess. Okay. So I want to see what you guys think I should do as far as live streaming and stuff on the channel, because I'd like to get started on that. And if it's something that you're interested in, I would love to know about it and what days or times of day work best for people. It'd be fun to either live stream just Modern Leagues, maybe other formats, maybe like I could do a live stream where people draft with me. That'd be fun. Opponent plays Ruin Crab. I think to Ruin Crab, I go Cranial Plating Ornithopter, go. I could also maybe do live streams where I play against people in my audience. That'd be fun. I'm really just interested in what directions you'd like to see me go with the channel. Because thank you so much for subscribing. I just recently hit 1,000 subs. This is the first gameplay video that I've done since then, and it's very flattering. But it's also a little overwhelming. I didn't think that I'd get this far, honestly. Opponent mills me. They hit a couple Thoughtcast, a Thought Monitor, Darksteel Citadel, Frogmite, and Ether Spellbomb with their Ruin Crab. Looks like they have a kill spell. Maybe not. They might just be playing for a... Since they stopped in draw step, they might be paying for Surgical Extraction. I'd rather it be that, honestly. Like Surgical on Thought Monitor, maybe? It is. Haha! You picked the wrong one. They have 3 cards in hand. If they just don't have removal for a little bit, we're going to be able to beat them to death. Opponent exiling Thought Monitors from our deck could definitely make their spells a little bit better. At least Tasha's Hideous Laughter gets a little bit better without those 7 drops. Fractured Sanity, okay. What are we going to mill? Sojourner's Companion, Ornithopter, Welding Jar, Treasure Vault into our graveyard. We draw a Memnite, not very exciting, but fine. Play Treasure Vault, play Relic. Equip up Ornithopter. Okay. Attack for 7. Alright, our opponent needs to find a removal spell or mill us out, because we will be able to threaten our opponent with lethal next turn. Opponent mills us. Hitting Saga Frogmite. And plays Tasha's. Milling 10 cards, and it looks like we won, because I don't think they have any free removal that they could play. I'm just going to leave up Relic, since they might have like a Surgical Extraction or something, but I don't know if it matters. Play Memnite, play Mistfall Bridge, go to combat. Hiya. Got him. Our opponent's trying to capitalize on the lack of Yorions in the format, I see. I might be doing that soon. Let's see. Metallic Rebukes, yes please. Pithing Needle, maybe. Let's cut on Thoughtcast. Welding Jars are not that great, so probably cutting them. Let's bring in Pithing Needle. It's pretty good against their fetch lands and Field of Ruins. And I can cut Gingerbrute, and I'll keep the Nettle Cyst, I think. Cut Thoughtcast. Let's do it like that. Metallic Rebukes are really nice against pretty much anything that taps out at sorcery speed for powerful cards, and Tasha's Hideous Laughter is definitely one of those. Also, our opponent will occasionally have an Ensnaring Bridge in play. Not all mill players play Ensnaring Bridge in the sideboard. We do have ways to get through that because of Cranial Plating, and they don't always empty out their hand either. Misfault Bridge, bunch of stuff. How does this hand sequence? It goes turn 1, tapped Misfault Bridge, turn 2, Springleaf Drum, Ornithopter, Frogmite. If we draw a Darksteel Citadel, we can go turn 1, Springleaf Drum, turn 2, Misfault Bridge, Ornithopter, Frogmite, Sojourner's Companion. We are on the draw. That's kind of tempting me to keep this hand. We're up a game. I'll keep it. Why not? It has the potential to be very explosive, and we haven't seen the 4/4s yet this league. Opponent plays Island, Hedron Crab. Okie dokie. We draw a Silver Bluff Bridge. That's a land, at least. Not an untapped land like we want, but it means that we're not going to get stuck on one land, and that was the main concern that I had with this hand. Opponent plays Obero instead of a fetch land and does not play another crab this turn. That's kind of nice. They mill Frogmite, Metallic Rebuke, Treasure Vault. So they know about Metallic Rebukes in our sideboard now, and they pass. They don't have black mana, which is important. Let's go Silver Bluff Bridge, Springleaf Drum, Ornithopter, Counterspell, Visions of Beyond, Frogmite, Relic. That should make our opponent's future Visions of Beyond, Drown the Locks, and Surgicals worse. We have 6 artifacts in play, so next turn we should be able to play the rest of our hand, and then hopefully threaten our opponent with lethal on turn 4. We're close to lethal. They do have 5 cards in hand still, which is a bit of a concern. They play Odawara, milling us for 3. Okay. They hit 2 lands and a Metallic Rebuke. Still don't have black mana. Interesting. Opponent plays Tasha's. Hits how many cards? 14 cards. That's a bit on the high side for us. They got a bunch of Memnites, that's the reason. They got 1 Mirror Enforcer and a Thoughtcast and didn't hit any other really high cost spells. I have exactly one time had my opponent hit 3 cards with Tasha's Hideous Laughter, and it was hysterical. Let's exile a Metallic Rebuke. We draw Urza's Saga. Okay. Let's play Cranial Plating. Saga. We have to let this resolve, I guess. Unfortunate. Cast Companion. Cast Companion. Plating up Ornithopter. Go to combat. Attack for 11. We have 2 Relic activations up. And our opponent's dead next turn unless they have appropriate removal, which they shouldn't, because we will have black to reassign Cranial Plating if we need to. And we can also interact with Drown the Locks. So that should just be game over, hopefully. Possible out for our opponent is going... It's not going pick up Obera. Possible out for our opponent would have been going like second crab fetch land, mill us for 12 Tashas, and get lucky with the Tashas. But it looks like that's not the case. Lots and lots of lands in our graveyard currently. What you got, opponent? Engineered explosives. Okay. So that means they have 1 mana available, effectively. Let's relic ourselves, get Metallic Rebuke out of there so they can't surgical those away. We draw a Thought Monitor. Let's play Thought Monitor. That means we can attack with everything else and reassign Cranial Plating. They Mystic Dispute it, so now they don't have their mana. Fantastic. No, I won't pay for that. Why would I pay for that? Go to combat. Attack, attack, attack. Pop Engineered Explosives, block a Sojourner's Companion. Take 12. Please. Hooray! RIP Ornithopter. You did a lot of work for me. I'll see you in the next one. Alright, round 3. We won the die roll again. We've been very lucky with that so far. We have a pretty decent hand other than that the only land is an island. If this were Darksteel Citadel, this hand would be insane. I mean, we're definitely keeping it because we can go turn 1 Island Springleaf Drum Welding Jar, turn 2 Mimnite Ornithopter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Depending on what we draw, possibly play the other 2 spells, but either way we're in a decent spot. Let's keep. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that this is an island instead of Darksteel Citadel, but oh well. The issue with having islands in your deck is sometimes you have to draw them, at least with Affinity. Surely WotC will give us Seat of the Synod again one day, right? One day. Alright, let's see what our opponent's playing. They go Wooded Foothills, pass. Okay. Inconclusive. We draw Ether Spellbomb. Let's play you. It looks like this might be a Cascade deck that we're playing against. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not quite. Let's pass. I think having Companion as a 4/4 is more valuable than land cycling this turn to get Darksteel Citadel, so that's why I didn't do that. Opponent gets a Steam Vents untapped and plays Otherworldly Gaze. Okay, so it's Dredge. Golgari Thugs, Tinkweed Imp, Mana Confluence enter their graveyard. Pretty good Otherworldly Gaze. They hit Narcomoeba. When they dredge Stinkweed Imp, they hit another Stinkweed Imp, and they have a Silver Smoke Ghoul in their graveyard. They're probably going to go for a Cathartic Effect here. They're playing Fetches, which is weird. I didn't think the Dredge did that anymore, but they must be playing Loams still. For this one, at least. Thrilling Discovery. I did hear that Dredge had a good weekend recently, but I didn't see what the list was that did well, so I'm not sure if this is the standard Dredge list now or not. When Creeping Chills us, gets a couple more Narcomoebas, gets Surprised Amalgam. Really good start for Dredge. Very sad for us. Let's see what happens on our turn, I guess. Surprised Amalgam, yep. Silver Smoke Ghoul, yep. Okay. We draw Memnite. Not bad. We will play it. We'd like to hit a couple other 4/4s with Thought Monitor, or another Thought Monitor / blue draw effect would be nice. But as long as we can establish a board as well, they get 3/3s and we get 4/4s. And eventually we'll have lifelink and trample or a cranial plating to kill them with. I might wind up picking up my Thought Monitor with Aether Spellbomb if I don't have anything else that I want to cast this turn. Play Monitor. Draw 2 cards. Mirror Enforcer. Sojourner's Companion. Relic is nice, but a little bit late, gotta say. Although I'll definitely get it into play this turn. Could be very useful later. Alright, pass. We have a decent board now. We have a Relic, so we can fight off ridiculous Dredge shenanigans in the future. It looks like they're going to be able to get either Ox back or cast Conflag this turn, though. So we'll see what happens as far as that. Block, block, block. I'm going to let the 3 through so that they can't very easily conflag away our 4/4s this turn. Opponent has double Ox and Conflagrate as the things that they could do here. Technically, they could also Otherworldly Gaze, but there's basically no situation where they'd be doing that. So I assume this is an Ox, I want to say? They could Conflagrate a bunch of our stuff, but they can only deal 6 damage with it. Yeah. Opponent goes for Ox. Dredges a bunch. Okie dokie. Hits a Creeping Chill. Silver Smoke Ghoul. Other Creeping Chill. A couple of Prized Amalgams. But those Prized Amalgams didn't see anybody enter yet, so they're not going to come back yet. And we're going to be able to stop them with our Relic. Opponent's hand is... should just be a bunch of Stinkweed Imps, right? Yeah, because they discarded 4 Stinkweed Imps. And there's only 1 in their graveyard now. So we know what's in their hand. I'll make you exile 1 card with Relic. Haha. Opponent has 8 cards in their library. We draw Springleaf Drum. Let's pop Relic. We draw Cranial Plating. Huh. What does this mean for us? How much is our opponent hitting us for next turn? If they attack with everything, we block, 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 take 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Block, 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 block. Or take 8. Unfortunately, I don't think I can Springleaf Drum here. I could bounce Ox with Aether Spellbomb. That could be good. Yeah, I could bounce Ox with Aether Spellbomb and then equip Cranial Plating next turn. So that's what I'm going to do. How many Creeping Chills have we seen? I want to check that first. I don't think they're going to have a way to get cards in their graveyard, hopefully, here. At least without possibly killing themselves. 1, 2, 3. We've only seen 3 Creeping Chills. Yeah, let's play Springleaf Drum. Tapping Ornithopter for it. It's okay to let an Archimedes get through. And pass. There's a decent chance we don't even kill our opponent with the cranial plating and we just answer their board and then they die. But we'll see. Opponent goes down to 19 because they fetched. Okay. We block, 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 block. Okay. And just for good measure, bounce Ox. Opponent cast Stinkweed Imp. Okie dokie. We draw Darksteel Citadel. Play Cranial Plating. And I think I just pass here. I don't think they can keep getting damage through currently. They're about to draw a card, so now they can't afford to dredge back Stinkweed Imp without dying, and we can just ride it out. Plating on Ornithopter. Okie dokie. I'll Welding Jar. I'd rather have Ornithopter than a Welding Jar at this point. Opponent plays a Stinkweed Imp. Okay. We draw Relic. I can just wait on that. Because now we have an answer for their Creeping Chill. Pass the turn. Opponent attacks. We block. Okay. 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 Opponent plays a Stinkweed Imp. Okie dokie. Let's Cranial Plating on Mirror Enforcer, I guess. Reliquew. Okay. We draw Treasure Vault. Is there a way that we lose from here by just waiting? I don't know. Hopefully not, but I think that's the plan, is to just keep waiting. Because this is the last Stinkweed Imp. The other one's in exile. I'll block the Narcomoeba. We're at 5. Opponent plays a Prized Amalgam. Okay. Do I pop the Relic? I don't think I do. I should have tapped it technically, but I'm just trying to think of if there's a way that our opponent kills us suddenly. We could force our opponent to block with one thing, but then we could possibly die on the backswing. So that's not worth it. Opponent goes to combat. Attacks with Stinky. We block with Thought Monitor. Okay. Okay. Thought Monitor dies. RIP to the Thought. Yeah, even when your opponent gets a really good Dredge start, just having 4/4s against 3/3s is, I mean, it makes the creature math very, very much in our favor as far as board stalls. They did have a 4th land, so they might be able to cast the Creeping Chill. So we're at effectively 2. We drew an Ornithopter, which is nice. That means we can attack in with Mirror Enforcer and threaten our opponent's life total on top of threatening them with just milling out. Plays Otherworldly Gaze. Okay. Please be dead. Do I let the Narcomoeba get through? I guess I do. Or I guess I just relic it, right? I might be thinking too hard on this, but if I die somehow, I'm going to be very humiliated. So I'm trying really hard to not misplay here. Alright, our opponent drew their last card. This is the last turn. If they have us, they have us. If they don't, they don't. They didn't double Dark Blast, which is what I was concerned about. Block. Block. Okay. Move Plating over just so that we kill their guy. Please be dead. Please, please. They have 1 Dark Blast. Alright, they just had 1 Dark Blast. We're Gucci. And we found the Shadow Spear. So just in case, we'll get some lifelink action. Hooray! Well, that was a weird game 1. Tormod's Crypts, yes please. Grafdigger's Cage, yes please. That's pretty much it. Let's cut down on... Gingerbroot's not great since it dies to Dark Blast. Nettle Cyst is fine. Shadow Spear is great. Aether Spellbomb's fine. Welding Jar's great. Maybe I cut a Memnite, but that feels a little weird, so I don't really think so. Maybe I do cut Nettle Cyst since it costs a bit too much. And then I can cut a Thoughtcast, since it doesn't help me establish a board. Yeah, let's do that. I think I want to keep all the 0 drops against Dredge just because you want to run as quickly as possible, since they're a very, very unfair aggro deck. We have Relic, Tormod's Crypt, and 1 land, not as many lands as we would want, but we have a lot of hate cards, so let's keep it. And we're on the draw, so there's a decent chance that we hit like a Darksteel Citadel or an Urza's Saga and can power out our hand at a reasonable rate. Opponent plays City of Brass. We draw Relic. Let's go Mistfault Bridge. Tormod's Crypt. Opponent mulliganed down to 6 this game. Let the record show. Opponent plays Otherworldly Gaze. Depending on what they gaze into the graveyard, I might pop Relic now. They got a Creeping Chill. Is that all they got? That's all they got. Okay. So the Crypt is just gonna make them stop playing their game plan until they find a removal spell for the crypt. Because they're not going to want to go in on Cathartic Reunion with this in play. Thrilling Discovery can get through it, but it can't stop the triggers from getting exiled still. Alright, we draw land? Alright, it's a land. It counts. Play a relic. Opponent flashes back Otherworldly Gaze. I wouldn't have done that there if that were them. Seems a little awkward. They put Wooded Foothills, and let's see if they put anything else in the graveyard. Next turn we're probably playing Thoughtcast, and then doing some stuff. I might wind up cycling Sojourner's Companion this game so I can hold up mana for Relic while also progressing my board. Alright, they just have Wufu in their graveyard, so we're not worried about that right now. And now we have a lot of graveyard hate in play. Relative to what they probably have in their hand, at least. Opponent plays Portable Hole. Okie dokie. What you gonna get with the Portable Hole, bucko? On Tormod's Crypt. Let's go ahead and crypt them. We don't have a way to get rid of Portable Hole anyway, so it doesn't matter. And now we can hold up Relic. Even still. Alright. Opponent didn't play a land. That's good news for us. We play Welding Jar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's Thoughtcast here instead of cycling the Sojourner's Companion because I can probably find lands this way. I hope. Alright, we found a land. It kind of counts. Play Frogmite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I would rather hold up the Relic Exile than play out my creatures here. Just because a Cathartic can do so much for them. And if they have a destroy effect, we can regenerate Relic and still pop it since you don't have to tap it to do the 1 mana ability on it. Opponent plays Stinkweed Imp. Alright, we're in a good spot. Our opponent's casting their creatures. We have so much graveyard hate in this deck. It feels a little silly at times, but you lose once or twice to Living End, and you'll be just as jaded as I am against it. You will understand, I promise. I can play Shadow Spear, but I can't equip and also play out Relic. So I'm going to wait on the equip. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Opponent does not block. Makes sense. Play Mirror Enforcer. Play Sojourner's Companion. I'm going to hold the other Relic in my hand to keep it as a surprise in case they have removal for this Relic. Thrilling Disco. Okie dokie. Stinky Silver Smote. Putting Ox in their graveyard, not getting any triggers. Okie dokie. They find a land. And that's it. Okay. Reliquew. That keeps them off of the Ox ability. So we found another land. That means that we can play out Relic, hold it up, and also equip Shadow Spear here if we want to play out the Relic. So let's equip up. Tap. Well, I think I'd rather just equip on Frogmite, since they're less likely to block the Frogmite anyway. Combat with everybody. Opponent has 3 cards in hand. They block a Mirror Enforcer. I would rather have the Relic than the Mirror Enforcer, I think, in this scenario. I might actually just pop this relic now to stop them from using Ox or getting back Stinkweed Imp. Let's see what they cast here. I'm gonna cast Ancient Grudge. Interesting. They don't have any more mana up. We're definitely popping Relic now since they have the Ancient Grudge. I'm gonna protect the Shadow Spear because it's so important for us to be able to gain life and get in with Trample. And we're just gonna go Urza Saga, pop Relic, play the other Relic. Easy peasy. And hopefully just GG's from there. Opponent's at 1. Exile your shit. We draw Memnite. We will play Memnite. Play Urza Saga. Play Relic. Pass. Did we get him? God, I hope we did. Gonna plays Otherworldly Gaze in the main phase. Hooray! Alright, we've had a very good run so far. I'll see you in the next one. Alright, round 4 with Affinity. We lost the die roll. We have 3 lands. One of them's Urza Saga. Cranial Plating, Frogmite, Memnite, Aether Spellbomb seems pretty solid, so let's keep it. And our opponent is not playing a companion. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen even Gigantha yet in this league. I sort of thought more people would be trying either Gigantha or Kahira decks, and that we'd run into them frequently. Opponent goes Breeding Pool, Ignoble Hierarch. Weird. I don't know what deck plays both of those cards. I assume something 4-color. We drew Ornithopter. Interesting. Darksteel Citadel, Aether Spellbomb. I say we just play Frogmite here so that we can start swinging in a little bit. Turn 2 we can play Cranial Plating. Possibly also Urza Saga. I'm not sure if I'm going to want to sequence it to where I get both constructs and can also equip Cranial Plating, so I don't know yet, but we'll probably play it on turn 2. Opponent plays Temple Garden. Is it a 5-color deck? They're down to 16. That's nice, at least. They tap Bant mana and play Geist of Saint Traft. What the fuck? I'm just confused now. I don't even know what to do with this. I'm not going to attack with the Frogmite because I'd much rather just block Geist and have that be over with. I could play Gingerbrute here, and then have the Cranial Plating be a surprise kill with Gingerbrute. I guess it's still a surprise if I just run out Cranial Plating here, and it uses my mana a bit better. Let's pass. Opponent's been damaging themselves a lot, so we might be able to kill them in just one hit because of that. They play Wooded Foothills. They attack with Ghost. I would say Geist of Saint Traft is worth double blocking. Although I haven't seen it in a while, so I guess I haven't really assessed the Affinity versus Geist matchup. I think this is actually the first time that I've ran into a deck playing Geist of Saint Traft while I've been playing Affinity. I think they're probably playing like a Ferris Rockrick deck or something like that. They bolt Frogmite, that's fine. We're at 16. I could see this being a deck that plays like General Ferris Rockrick, domain spells, stuff like that. I think that's what it's got to be. They have 2 cards left in hand. They fetch down to 15. Are they going to get a Shock Land and go down to 13 is the question. They get a Blood Crypt. They go down to 13. And tap Sultai mana for Shardless Agent. Yeah, this is definitely a Rockrick deck. Tribal Flames, yep, they're playing Rockrick. I was able to figure it out eventually, at least. The Tribal Flames are Ornithopter, okay. We draw a Welding Jar, that's nice. They have one card left. That means this construct is going to be pretty solid. Especially with the Welding Jar keeping it alive through possible damage-based removal. What's our opponent got this turn? They could play a Bloodbraid Elf if they drew one. And that wouldn't be bad. I think one of the best things that they could have is Hidetsugu Consumes All, if they played that in their main deck. I know sometimes one or two of those is in the main deck of these decks. Opponent attacks for a bunch. Yep. We will make a construct. Do they have removal? Maybe they have a path or something? They have Leyline Binding. Okay, makes sense. We take 8 down to 8. Opponent's got one card in hand. Opponent plays Tribal Flames. We go down to 3. Okay. What can we do here? We can play Gingerbrute for 1. We can get Shadow Spear. We can equip Shadow Spear, attack for 2, gain lifelink. That doesn't seem worth it. We can make a construct, get Springleaf Drum. They don't have any cards in hand. If they attack with Shardless Agent Geist, we block Geist. Tap for a blue mana, bounce the Angel, take 2 down to 1. And just hope that they don't have another Bolt or Tribal Flames. We could play Gingerbrute, equip Cranial Plating, activate Gingerbrute, attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so not quite lethal, and then we die on the clapback. So I think making a construct is the best idea here, unfortunately. Getting Springleaf Drum. We're not guaranteed a win, since they do have burn spells. Get Springleaf Drum. Yep. And pass. But if we fade a good draw, we might be able to do something with this. What you got, opponent? Hopefully they just drew a land. They go to combat. They attack. Please do not draw a Bolt or a Leyline Binding or Tribal Flames. Block. Okay. Alright, moment of truth. Bounce the Angel. What you got, opponent? Take 2 down to 1. Okay. They might slow roll direct damage if they have it, so there's still a chance, since they're not technically dead yet, that they get to kill us. Opponent plays Wufu. Okay, so they hit a land there. They probably should have just kept it in hand, honestly, to keep us suspicious. We draw Welding Jar, not necessarily what we want. We're going to need to fade removal again, it looks like. We can attack in with the construct. Or I could go Ginger Brute, leave it back so I can gain life. That's not really worth it compared to just blocking with the construct to kill Shardless Agent. I could go Ginger Brute Thoughtcast and then see what happens based on that. If I play Ginger Brute here, what am I dead to? I'm dead to Bolt, Tribal Flames, and removal still. That's if I play Ginger Brute and attack. If I play Ginger Brute and don't attack, I'm giving my opponent more time, and I'm possibly dead to other cards that I haven't seen yet from their deck, but if they have a removal spell, I still have a blocker possibly, and I can also sack Ginger Brute to gain 3 life. So I think I need to play it safe since I'm just at 1. Because they could also just be playing like Wrenn and 6 in their deck, and that would make me very sad. Let's pass. If I had one more land, I would have been able to attack in with the construct and also hold up Ginger Brute to gain life there. That would have been nice. When it gets Stomping Ground, they go down to 12. Okay. They thin their deck. What you got, opponent? If they have Tribal Flames, I'm dead. But I'm not dead to just a Leyline Binding anymore. At least. And if they don't have removal, they can't attack in with Shardless Agent for free. They go to combat, so they didn't play a hasty creature. They pass. Excellent. If they had Leyline Binding, they would have Leyline Binding the construct and attacked in for 3 with Shardless, I think. So I think that means that they blanked on a draw again. We draw Frogmite. Okay. I still need to keep 2 mana up in case they have Bolt. I could force them to block with the construct. I think I want to go Frogmite Thoughtcast off of it, because I might draw some more free creatures to populate the board with, and that would be fantastic. I did not. But I drew Darksteel Citadel, so now I can force my opponent to attack, to block rather, with the construct. That means Shardless Agent attacks in for 1 less. Okay. Fade burn spells, please. Continue to fade burn spells and removal. Alright, let's see if our opponent has it. Please don't have it. They could definitely just bolt us here, though. Yeah, it looks like they have it. Unfortunate. There might have been a way that I could play through that. I wanted to be a bit bold with the Thoughtcast. But oh well. Yeah, if I had Frogmite or the Construct up to where I could block there, I think I would have been able to beat that scenario. Let's bring in Metallic Rebukes, because they very likely have Force of Vigors. Relic is probably pretty much useless. Also, Metallic Rebuke just hits their sorceries, which are very strong. I think I want all the Mirror Enforcers. Do I cut Nettle Cyst? I don't know, actually. Because they have some big boys, and Nettle Cyst kind of just blocks those. Ginger Brute's decent for getting through board stalls, but since they already saw it, it's not as good. I think I cut a Memnite. Let's do it like that. Memnite doesn't block and kill much, if anything, that they have. Is the main thing that I'm thinking there. So it's more of just a ramp piece for us, where a Nettle Cyst can have an impact on the board. This hand seems decent, we'll keep it. It's a little bit slow because of the tapped lands, but that's not too bad overall. Let's go ahead and run out Ornithopter because there's a chance they brought in Chalice and they might run it out on 0 against us, and we definitely want this Ornithopter more than we necessarily want to stop them from bolting the Ornithopter or something. Thought Monitor. Interesting. I think I'd rather play a Bridge than Saga here. Springleaf Drum. Thoughtcast. Could have sequenced that better. Didn't think to at the time. Let's play the other Ornithopter. We have double Thought Monitor, Metallic Rebuke, Saga now. So next turn we should be able to play both the monitors and hold up Metallic Rebuke. And then the turn after that we can start developing constructs. Territorial Kavu. Our opponent did not Stony Silence us. That's always nice. We draw Shadow Spear. Let's play Urza Saga. Play Shadow Spear. Looks like our opponent doesn't have a force since they let that trigger resolve. Play Monitor. Okay. Play Frogmite. We drew Cranial Plating, that's nice. Play Monitor. Draw 2 cards. Drew another Frogmite. And another Urza Saga. Alright, this one should be in the bag, I hope. I hope. Pass, no reason to attack in with 2 Ornithopters. I might just wind up attacking in with Cranial Plating Shadow Spear on a creature instead of making a construct this turn. Getting my life total big. Seems like a good deal. What you got, opponent? I don't think it necessarily matters now either way, since I have Metallic Rebuke to just keep holding up. I can't quite cast Cranial Plating, equip it, and also equip Shadow Spear while also holding up Metallic Rebuke. I'm 1 mana short. So I guess I am just holding up the construct and Metallic Rebuke this turn. Opponent plays Windswept Teeth. Okay. Attacks for 5. I think I'm just going to chump block this with an Ornithopter to keep the 5 life since they have so much burn. And this doesn't have trample, right? Yeah, it doesn't. Chump block a clock. Opponent has 6 cards in hand, so they do have a decent amount of options at least. But we'll see what they can do with that. Opponent cracks Windswept Teeth. I'm going to be signaling to my opponent that I have Metallic Rebuke up if I play an untapped land and don't equip Shadow Spear. But we'll see what happens as far as that goes. I might wind up using the Metallic Rebuke here. Leyline Binding, don't care. They're going to Leyline Binding one of my 2/2s. That's not going to matter. They Leyline Binding my Shadow Spear, that's fine. Honestly, forgot that that could hit anything that O-Ring hits instead of just creatures, but I stand by it. Scion of Draco. Fuck you. And my opponent's dead now because of Cranial Plating. Hooray! Yeah, I can hit my opponent for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Assuming that they don't have force. But I'm going to try for it. Attack, 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 attack. No force, please. Got any free spells? They might have free spells. They don't. Excellent. Let's see if we can keep this winning streak up. I would love to win one more, at least, and go 4-1. I still have not got a 5-0 with this deck on the channel, which I would love to finally get to do. Do I want to change anything? Not really. There's sort of an argument for Pithing Needle, but I haven't seen any Planeswalkers, so I don't think I necessarily want it. They do have a lot of fetch lands, and there might be a world where they let me needle a land, but I don't want to rely on that. We have Saga, Darksteel Citadel, Welding Jar, Ornithopter, Nettlecyst, Metallic Rebuke, Thoughtcast. No blue. We could get blue with Urza's Saga, and if we draw Springleaf Drum, this hand is fantastic. I could also just run out Saga on 1, get Springleaf Drum for turn 3, and then possibly have a good setup. Let's keep it. It's a little bold, but I'm willing to risk it. Our opponent mulligans down to 6. They keep 6. Bloodstained Mire from our opponent. And passes. We draw Thoughtcast. Let's go Urza's Saga. I'd rather just hold on to the Welding Jar because if they have a force that they use on our Saga, running out Welding Jar just gives them another free thing that they can hit with that and doesn't protect anything. And if we hit another land drop on turn 3, we can play Nettlecyst and also Thoughtcast, which would be nice. Or double Thoughtcast if it's a blue source. I'm going to play Scion. That's a fast Scion. It's a little unfortunate for us, but hopefully it won't be that big of a deal. We draw Cranial Plating. Okay. So I do play Welding Jar now. Darksteel Citadel. Whoa. Didn't mean to do that. Cranial Blading. And Ornithopter. Pass. What you got, opponent? What they've definitely got is a 4-4. I don't know what they have after that, though. Maybe I should have held on to the Ornithopter, since I'm more likely to tap it for Springleaf Drum mana than get in with it here. But I wanted to at least possibly threaten them with Cranial Plating, hitting them this turn, if I draw another 0-drop here. Or blue source. Opponent plays Windswept Heath, cracks it. Gets a Plains. And plays Rockrick. Okay. Would have loved to counter that too. Unfortunately, that's not what's happening here. They are going to let us get in with possibly Ornithopter. It looks like we didn't draw land. We definitely want Springleaf Drum. And I think do I just run out Nettlecyst, or do I risk not using all my mana to try to... We're definitely behind here, is the issue. I could just play Thoughtcast. There's a decent chance they have removal. And then if I don't hit the things that I need to, I'm out of luck. But if I Thoughtcast into an untapped land and get to Nettlecyst off of it, then I'm in a great spot. And that kind of turns the corner for me. We've seen 2 lands. out of 11 cards. I think I'm leaning towards casting Thoughtcast here. Free creatures is also nice. Yeah, let's just go for Thoughtcast. Bless up. We got a Frogmite off of it. Not necessarily what we wanted. I think I'd rather just play out the Cranial Plating than equip a Cranial Plating here, because now I'm threatening them with Ornithopter double plating, and that hurts a lot more than Ornithopter one plating. It's really unfortunate that we didn't hit an untapped land and play Nettle Cyst, but it is what it is. We're a little choked on blue mana now. But we shouldn't be dead this turn at least. Opponent can hit us for 4, 5, 6, 7. If they go red source, Tribal Flames, and we don't block, we die. If we block Ferrous Rockrick, we'll be at a little bit of life, but we won't be able to threaten them with the Ornithopter double equip unless we draw an untapped source. I guess we'll see what our opponent does. If I had played Nettle Cyst there, I would have had a decent blocker for Rockrick, but I think they would have just Leyline Binding'd it. Or possibly had another way to remove it, like Night of Autumn or something. Opponent does not get in with Scion of Draco. Okay, that's good news for us. Let's take the 3. Not much sense in just sacrificing our Frogmite to gain 3 life. At least yet. Opponent plays Territorial Kavu. Gets a 4/4, gets a 5/5. Very spooky. We draw Mistfault Bridge. We're at 13. I can play Thoughtcast, then what? Hmm. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm very close to just being dead to anything. I think I need to Thoughtcast off the Frogmite, and then worst case scenario, I go Mistfault Bridge, put Plating on Ornithopter, and just hope that my opponent can't kill me. I think they have a Leyline Binding up, but I guess we'll see. Yeah, let's Bless up, because I think the best way that I can recover from here is drawing a couple 4/4s. Alright, let's get lucky. Frogmite, Springleaf Drum. Let's not equip Cranial Plating and just hold up Metallic Rebuke instead. I think that gives us the best chance at surviving here. They can attack in with everything. We can block Scion with Ornithopter, Welding Jar Ornithopter. Chump block the 4/4. Take 8. And then if they casted something during combat, we can Metallic Rebuke it. Hopefully. They missed a land drop, so they shouldn't be able to double cast red spells unless they drew exactly a red land. I wonder why they played basic plains instead of just basic forest or basic mountain in this deck, because I feel like Gruul is way more useful overall. You really want a lot of red sources when you're playing the Domain Zoo deck, since almost everything is red and something else. If you're counting like Ferrous Rockrick, Territorial Kavu, Bolt and Tribal Flames, and also probably Bloodbraid Elf is in the deck. It's a lot of red spells, is the point. Knight of Autumn. What does this mean? I can counter Knight of Autumn. And then what? I tap, 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 tap. I have a blocker. I take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Jump block. And I can kill them if they attack in like that. Or they Knight of Autumn, they get rid of maybe a Cranial Plating. Maybe they just tap down an Ornithopter with it effectively. Either way, they get rid of my Welding Jar most likely. And then I still have Metallic Rebuke up, but I'm not using it this turn. I think it's better to use Metallic Rebuke here. Like so. Alright, I'm dead to them finding a Bolt, I think. But if they had used Knight of Autumn to kill one of my creatures and I had to tap it to regenerate it, I would have been dead to that anyway, so it doesn't really matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Interesting. First strike means that I can't really attack in with Frogmites on the ground. Opponent attacks, 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 attacks. They are attacking with Scion? Please attack with Scion. If I'm not dead and you attack with Scion, I just win. So it looks like they're... Okay, so they're betting on finding a red source and Bolt to kill us. I am okay with that. Because I think that was my only out. Because otherwise this board is just like insane. Block 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Also Gut Shot kills us, I guess, if they have that. They could also possibly win if they go play a white source Leyline Binding. Alright, let's see what happens. I can protect my stuff with Metallic Rebuke. So I think opponent's just dead because they misplayed. None of this has flying. Alright. Alright, well I got lucky there. I will absolutely take it though. Hooray! GG's to our opponent. And I'll see you in round 5. Alright, final round with Affinity in the first post-Yorion League. We have Double Relic, Saga, Mistvault Bridge, Darksteel Citadel, Thoughtcast Ornithopter. Seems fine. Our opponent's on the play, but we have some draw, we have a clock, we have some disruption. We have a lot of disruption if they're a graveyard deck. Opponent's mulliganing down to 6. We'll see what that means for us. They mulligan down to 5. Is this going to be the first Affinity 5-0 for the channel? God, I hope so. It's a little overdue. Opponent plays Bloodstained Mire, go. Alright, let's just go Mistvault Bridge, go. Very inconclusive with this Bloodstained Mire. Blood Crypt, okay. Is it a Jund deck? If it was Shadow, they'd be playing Gigantha. Is it Rakdos minus Gigantha? They thought sees us. That's kind of fine. We have a lot of redundancy. I guess they just take Thought Monitor, since it's a 3-for-1. They might take Thought Cast since we get to cast it sooner. But yeah, Thought Monitor is definitely more powerful. We draw another Saga, that's nice. Especially since our opponent didn't get to see it. Let's play Relic. Let's play other Relic. And just pass here. If they dash a Ragavan, that's fine. I don't really care. They bolt our face. They have 2 cards in hand. So it does look like we're playing against a mid-range deck, which means that them mulliganing down to 5 was really bad for them. At least hopefully. They dash Ragavan, that's fine. They have 1 card in hand, they're going to get a treasure, and they're going to get a look. They might be able to cast something from the top of our deck. They find a Memnite, so they do get to cast that, that's fine. Relic U. Relic U. One Urza Saga is already great against Rakdos midrange when they're down on cards like this, but double Urza Saga I think should make this a pretty clean win. Play Frogmite, play Ornithopter, pass the turn. Because now our opponent's graveyard's just cleared out. We're going to have a bunch of big-ass creatures, a couple tutors. And I don't think they can realistically recover from that already. Opponent plays Monkey on Savannah Lion mode. Opponent plays Seasoned Pyromancer. We will Relic away the Lightning Bolt so they have a little bit less input on what's in their graveyard. Opponent puts a Ragavan in the yard. Okie dokie. They have 1 card in hand. They have a Swamp Up, so they could have Fatal Push. Make a Construct. We draw Misfault Bridge. Make another Construct. Okay. I think I want to go for a Springleaf Drum here so I can Thought Cast. We draw a couple cards. We find a Shadow Spear. That's nice. Go to combat. Attack for 9. They block with Memnite. That's fine. Play Urza Saga. Play Shadow Spear. Okay. What you got, opponent? And opponent concedes. Cool. All right. Hopefully we'll just need 1 more of those. Let's bring in Pithing Needle because they probably have engineered explosives. And possibly Etch Champion comes in because it's decent against them. Curse Totem doesn't really do anything. Tormod's Crypt is a little bit too deep. Grafdigger's Cage doesn't really do anything. Damping Sphere doesn't do anything. Hurkyl's Recall doesn't really do anything. Metallic Rebuke could technically stop like a Kolaghan's Command or something, but for the most part we don't want to sideboard that heavily against them. Let's keep the Memnites because they're a Ragavan deck. Let's cut... Let's cut the Ginger Brute. Let's cut Nettlecyst. Let's bring in Etch Champ. Do it like that. Pretty much the same way that I sideboard against Shadow decks for the most part. Because the play pattern's pretty similar. Alright, we have Silver Bluff Bridge, Darksteel Citadel. So this hand goes turn 1 Silver Bluff Bridge, also Memnite if they played Ragavan. Turn 2 Darksteel Citadel, Pithing Needle, Aether Spellbomb, Frogmite, and then probably Sojourner's the turn after that. It's not a super strong hand, but I think it's fine, and because we can stop them from getting in with Ragavan unless they spend a whole removal piece to get rid of Memnite, I like this hand, so let's keep it. Also, we already have the blue, so if we draw a Thoughtcast or Thought Monitor anytime soon, we'll be able to play it. Opponent plays Polluted Delta, gets a Blood Crypt, down to 17, plays Ragavan. So we are running out Memnite. We find a Cranial Plating, that's kind of nice. Play Memnite, go. I assume they're going to have the removal from Memnite. I don't know why they would keep a removal-less hand against us. Yep, they Fatal Push it, that's fine. They get in with the monkey. They find our Shadow Spear. That's sad. I'm not super threatened by them having a Shadow Spear, but I would much rather have a Shadow Spear myself. They Thoughtseize us. They have 3 cards in hand. I assume they're going to use their treasure to cast Shadow Spear. I don't know why they wouldn't, really. Like, they might as well. I think Frogmite is the right take here. If they're concerned about us getting Sojourner's Companion down quickly, they might take that. Cranial Plating would be a weird thing to take, but if they don't have that much steam in their hand, I could see them taking it. I don't think Pithing Needle or Aether Spell Bomb get taken in any scenario here. Okay, they take Frogmite, that's fine. Do they play Shadow Spear, or do they leave up a spell on our turn? They leave up a spell, we draw Thought Monitor. That's kind of a nice draw. I think I just go ahead and get Cranial Plating down here. Since I don't have something with Affinity that I'm casting immediately anyway. But it hits us with the monkey. It's a Misfault Bridge. That's nice. I don't want them to keep getting cards off of us. Ragavan's really good when it's making treasures by itself, but it's so much more busted when you're actually casting spells from your opponent's deck too, and it turns into card advantage. And unfortunately, because of the amount of 0-drops that we have, it's pretty easy for our opponents to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We could get our hand down here. Let's play Aether Spell Bomb. Depends on our opponent, if our opponent plays a well-timed Kolaghan's Command or something. Play Pithing Needle. What do I want to name with Pithing Needle? I guess just Engineered Explosives. Play Thought Monitor. Hooray. Play Sojourner's Companion. Okay, we've established a board. Whether our opponent can deal with that board is up to them. They terminate Sojourner's Companion. They're up to a strong start. They hit us with Ragavan. I will take it. I would much rather have Monitor still in play for Cranial Plating. And I suspect they have another Ragavan in their hand. They Thoughtseize us. You can take the Springleaf Drum. Opponent goes down to 13. Surely they have a Bolt for Thought Monitor. Surely. Right? Opponent plays Bloodstained Mire, goes down to 12. Gets a Swamp. Plays Blood Moon. That knocks us off of our blue mana, unfortunately, but they haven't played anything actually good yet. Hit you for 11. I'm going to go ahead and draw a card with Aether Spell Bomb. We draw Urza's Saga. Basically useless because of the Blood Moon, but unless they found a removal spell or find a flyer to chump block with Ragavan here, we just get to kill them. So I think we should be able to win from here. Despite having no blue mana and Urza's Saga being useless. Opponent plays another land. They have 1 card in hand. We draw Etch Champion, so we're going to be able to win in a second, regardless of if they have removal for Thought Monitor. Attack. And... oh my god! We got the 5-0! Finally! I've been waiting so long to get one of these on the channel. I think that's the second 5-0 total I've gotten on the channel. Usually I'm not very good at playing while being recorded and trying to talk to viewers, which is part of why you should definitely tune in for possible live streams, because I'm going to be playing like shit, and it'll be very funny. Alright, let's open up these chests. We find a Riverglide Pathway, that's pretty nice. And Mirror Welder, whatever the hell that does. All activated abilities of all cards exiled with it. And you exile artifact cards from your graveyard. Okay, so it's like a very slow version of that new commander, whose name escapes me right now. Something, Trazyn the Infinite, I think? Yeah. Okay, nothing basically from there. That's 2. Open up a third one. But yeah, let me know in the comments both decks that you would like me to cover. with deck techs and whatnot. Things that you might want me to brew around, that would be fun. If you want to see any specific formats, I plan on having a Pioneer video out soon. I'm also interested in trying out Legacy and Pauper for the first time because I haven't really played either of those, at least much. And I'd be down to do more Vintage content if you enjoyed my Vintage 8cast video from June. But I know that's a bit more niche, since not as many people play those formats. Urborg Lorgoyf. That's a neat card. Alright, 4 more. Open you. Indulgent Tormentor. Decent amount of play points, at least, from that one. And Chatterfang. Already have a set of those, but not bad. Solemn Simulacrum, an old favorite when I used to play Mono Blue Tron. And one more. Come on, baby. Give me something good. Kolaghan's Command. All right, that was pretty nice. I will see you again soon with a new video. Mono Blue Affinity, still kicking it. See you then.
Hey everyone, Shoe Nice again. Well, basically, go subscribe to Tezzey's YouTube channel. And for those who made it to the end of the video, thank you.